You've just typed your research question into a popular AI tool, and within seconds, a seemingly polished answer appears on the screen. Commercial tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude feel fast, helpful, and even a bit magical at times. But here's the problem. These types of AI tools are great at producing fluent text, but they don't actually understand information. That means the system can misinterpret your question and apply information in ways that does not fit your context. Sometimes they hallucinate, they generate realistic sounding facts, quotes, statistics, or citations that simply do not exist. You might see confident claims, detailed numbers, or named sources that look legitimate but are fabricated. AI can also reinforce bias and one-sided views. It may repeat stereotypes, oversimplify complex issues, or present only one perspective without the nuance that academic work requires. Finally, AI answers can be irrelevant or out of date, and the training data or sources that the AI has access to means information it finds, provides, or summarizes might not be accurate or appropriate. You need to actively evaluate AI output before you rely on it in your assignments or academic work. To evaluate AI output, you can use the SIFT framework. First, stop and pause before accepting what the AI tool has given you. Next, investigate the evidence behind any claims the AI is making. Then, find relevant sources that actually support or challenge those claims. Finally, track it down by going to the original source and reading them yourself. How does this look in practice? Well, let's consider this with a real research question. Does caffeine improve exam performance? This prompt isn't ideal, it lacks context and detail, but it's a typical starting point and is useful for illustrating why developing your evaluation skills are essential. Applying the SIFT framework, you should stop and look over the initial output. Does the output address your question appropriately? For this stage, it's important to remember that LLMs will sound confident, but you shouldn't be. In this case, it's provided a short answer and then more detail below with links to sources. If sources were missing, refine the prompt or use a different AI tool. So now the output is on the right track to addressing the question, but this is where you investigate the sources. Your goal here is to get organized and sourced information, not AI-generated answers. It's generated a response on what caffeine does help with and where it doesn't help. Within that, it offers a few claims with links to sources. You should investigate these claims and sources using the CRAP test to ensure that anything used in your academic work is appropriate. This first claim sounds about right, but this claim is being sourced from an online magazine that will have commercial interests and is not a peer-reviewed source. So you need to find a better quality source if you want to verify and use this claim in your assessment task. Here, the output is claiming that caffeine has little effect when performance is already high. However, when reading this article, it's talking more about short, high-intensity and repetitive mental and physical activities rather than high-order thinking needed in exam performance. This may not be particularly relevant or useful for the research question. The generated summary information here is not supported with any sources, so you must dismiss it or do further investigation into these specific claims if you want to use them in your assignment. So, looking back at the AI evaluation pitfalls, you have seen misunderstandings, particularly in the context of the AI output being overly confident about sources, making claims relevant to your research question. You haven't seen any hallucinations, but have seen claims without obvious sources. You have picked up some potentially biased non-academic sources. There are oversimplified claims without direct traces to sources. And you may not have received out-of-date information, but have seen some information from irrelevant sources. So, what would be a better approach for this? Multi-Search Research Assistant will help you find better and more credible sources. Here, you'll find sources that are much more relevant, and the AI component of it is only going to help you find and evaluate sources relevant to your research question without any of the fluff. Lastly, take responsibility and own your work and learning. AI outputs are often stripped of context. Track claims down to an original source by checking citations in Multisearch or Google Scholar, searching library databases, or finding other coverage of the same claim. Read the sources yourself before using them. Use the information from the source in your assessment. Reference the source, not the AI output. Acknowledge the use of generative AI if required. Generative AI can be a powerful assistant, but human judgment and proper research skills are essential for finding accurate information. You need to sift through AI-generated content to find what's real.